Alrighty, I haven't been on here in a while, and today is celebration day. Just pouring myself some wine, and I'm just listening to this amazing song that I love so much at the moment. It's like one of my ever favorite songs. Those are the vibes. Honestly, today has just been an incredible day. I'm just like, how does it even get any better than this? I don't even know where to start. But quite frankly, one of the pieces that honestly just keeps blowing my mind is how I just like open myself up for this gets to get better. There's something else coming through. I know it's coming. I know it's meant for me. I know there's more behind the veil that I cannot see yet. And the thing is, when I get there, it happens. It truly is just that. It's like the more I dare to just be completely myself, like totally unleashed, totally wild, totally crazy, totally rebellious. Just, being myself and allowing myself to be exactly who I want to be. And like fully conscious of the person I am becoming in the making of this dream life, and that I basically get to have exactly not even what I want, I get to have what is aligned for me. And that's such a powerful piece that I've moved in my own inner puzzle, because when it comes to manifestation, like we often, and I used to really feel into this, like we often go into that frenzy of like wanting something and like placing things out in our own inner and outer timeline of how we want things to be. And very often we're not even aware that we're shutting the doors for what's really aligned for us, because we're so fixated and like obsessed about the outcome and how it's going to look, and how much money we're exactly going to make, and what kind of partner we have, and what kind of clients we work with, and the pieces that we want to have in our lives, right? Like, I want to travel and I want to do this, and these were the things that I used to want so bad. And yeah, for sure, like there were things that I definitely got to receive exactly in that way. But honestly, I don't think that having the thoughts about what I wanted and having the vision was actually what I really wanted, if you know what I mean. I think that there was a level in the manifestation process where I became so obsessed about the exact figure that I wanted to make, and the exact kinds of clients that I wanted to work with, that I was actually shutting down the opening for things to be totally unexpected, and especially for things to be totally unexpected in a better way, because it's almost like the piece that I was dreaming was almost too small. And I feel like we come to that place so often where it's a control thing, right? It's about control. It's about like not wanting to let go, and it's about wanting to direct and orientate the manifestation process in such a way where we're not going to get disappointed, we're not going to get hurt, we're not going to lose anything, we're not going to have to deal with our fear, we're not having to look at our triggers, we're not going to have to look at the pain points. And honestly, being on the other side, where I've understood what it means for me to manifest, and how it is that I really bring in the things that I really want, plus it gets to get way better than I even could ever want it. that level really did require me to go deep into the unknown and actually be open for things to break apart and for things to um, become chaotic and a little messy and a little crazy and a little unexpected, to a point where I would get super uncomfortable. And so today was a truly magical day because I came back from Greece yesterday, last night, and I, slept in a hotel close to the airport. And honestly, I didn't want to, I didn't want to like mess up my mind about what hotel I was going to sleep in. I just wanted to get into a bed as fast as possible as soon as I would get to the airport. And I ended up having a horrible bed. Like it was so bad. Like I had a neck pain for the rest of the day. And this morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not, this is not what I'm available for. I'm available for comfort. I'm available for being at ease and feeling at peace. And, I know I can manifest this. And I also know that whatever it is that I decided or didn't decide about me being in this room is not going to make, I'm not making this mean that I failed at my manifestation process, if you get what I mean. It was just like, oh yeah, here we go. This was something that I tried and it didn't work the way that I wanted it to work, but it didn't mess up my vibe, right? And so when I decided I was going to just get a different hotel, I get here and I find out that like each room is normally worth 500 euros, and because of COVID they had like this huge special offer bargain thing. And I get to the place and basically they were saying that normally I can't get checked in before 3 o'clock, and it was 11 in the morning. So that she had run out of the other hotel as fast as possible. And I get here and I said, well, that's fine. Like if you couldn't make it happen, that would be amazing. If not, I'll go with it. I'll just go wandering around town and it will be fine. And so basically, the woman goes, well, actually, let me see what I can do for you. And I said, yeah, that would be great. And then she goes, well, actually, we do have some rooms available, so I will be able to do an early check-in for you. And I said, I know this might be a little crazy, but do you maybe have like one with a really nice view? She's like, oh, well, I don't know if I can do that, And I said, well, it's fine, like whatever. Kind of like, like my energy was positioned for, doesn't matter what she's going to do, I know it's going to be perfect, right? And then she goes silent for a couple of minutes, like starts typing away. And I'm just like, okay, what is she doing? And then she goes, well, actually, sorry it took so long, but I was actually just removing the last superior room from the catalog so that it couldn't be booked, so that I could give it to you. And I was just trying to do the free upgrade for you. And I was like, what? Yeah, I just upgraded your room and you're gonna get like, like the double size of the room that you booked. And I was just like, what? You're amazing. And I was so happy, right? And then I get into my room and then I had this huge surprise that they had, one of my favorite brands. Like I normally burn candles from them. They're called Rituals. And I get into the place and I'm seeing that they have not only the shower gel, but they have like the shower gel, the shampoo, and the conditioner. Like for me, with curly hair, having conditioner is like amazing, right? And I mean, I have my own stuff because I always travel with my own like supernatural doTERRA products, but it's like, it was just such a lovely surprise. Like, who the heck has Rituals in their hotel room, right? I was just like, what? That is so awesome. And honestly, ended up, like booking 2 nights here because I'm flying out again on Wednesday. And I was just like, this is going to be so fun. And the whole day was just like that. I go to a place and then, they ended up giving me, like a double portion of food or something. And, met up with one of my lovely friends and, we had this amazing ice cream. It was like the best, right? Like the best, like lemon sorbet in town, probably. It was so gorgeous, like in this perfect setting outside, in a garden. And I was just like, this is the life. Like this is the meantime to my big dreams, right? Like I'm on my way to making 6 figures this year. And I know it's going to happen, and it's not going to happen because I'm going to obsess about it and I'm going to be going wild and crazy about it. It's just going to happen because it's going to happen. It's like a non-negotiable. It's going to be just whatever, and it's going to get even better than I could ever think it to be. And I feel like that's the piece that is so rebellious in a world where, like, this is like my big rant about the spiritual world. But I feel like we often use the spirituality work in order to get even more entangled in control and in, like, yeah, just trying to control the outcome so that we're not going to get hurt, so that we can tell ourselves that we're going to be better people, so that we can, yeah, just use whatever it is, that spiritual work, in order to put a stamp on ourselves that, yeah, we have done the work. We have done, like, we are the good girls, right? And I'm here to tell you, be a bad girl. Like, honestly, just be bad, be crazy, be wild, be whoever the F you want to be. Like, drink wine on a live. Like, this is the first time I'm having wine on a live. And I'm just like, why? I love wine. I love, sitting to have wine, often with a meal as well. But it's just like, that's the level of comfort and ease that will come with a certain level of manifestation, because it's not even about the manifestation process anymore. It's about building a life while you are manifesting your dreams. And it's like it closes the gap between where you are right now and your dream life, right? Because your dream life that you think it to be, the minute you get there, it's probably not even going to look the way you think it's going to look, right? It's probably also not going to feel the way you think it's going to feel. So you might as well just have fun walking there, right? And learning all the processes and taking them as, yeah, just different ways on how you get to live your life, right? And I feel like that's the hugest, I don't think that word even exists, but the biggest piece on the manifestation journey really is about, who are you becoming on the journey there? Because, like, who are you being on your journey there? Like, are you actually in love with who you are? And I definitely have come to a place of, like, deep love and trust and surrender into just being me, and, like, not trying to control, like, overly manipulate the outcome. And another piece I want to say is about money attraction. Like, I know that money is a massive portal of triggers for most of us. And one of the things that came through, as I was like having my bath this evening, I haven't had a bath in like months, really was about money story. I was reflecting about my money story, and there's just a level of attraction that kicks in when you're on a certain level where you're actually not wired in the survival mechanisms anymore, right? Where you're just so aware that your trigger with money is just an outcome of the survival mechanism that you've lived in, or that your parents have lived in, or your family has lived in. And honestly, like, money, I really feel, has always wanted to be with me. There was just like a sabotage mechanism where I was keeping money at an arm's length because I was secretly afraid that money would actually bring something terrifying with it. And probably 80% of this wasn't even mine. Like, and honestly, like, when women come to me, when they talk about their fractured relationships with money, we both realize that 80% of the stuff they talk about isn't even theirs personally. It's stuff that has come through from, their parents, from the lineage that they've come from, yeah, just the things that they've lived, that they've seen, in their ancestral lineage. It's been showing up. And so there's a level where I was secretly afraid of money, because I was afraid of what it would mean to have so much money that I couldn't handle, right? What if I will make so much money and it's just going to sit in my bank account, and I will, I would stress out about how to spend that money as fast as possible because I didn't want it to sit there, right? Because I somewhat felt like I was a criminal for just having money that I worked for. Can you imagine feeling guilty about money that you've actually worked for and you're feeling guilty? It makes no sense. It can't make logical sense because this fractured relationship with money isn't logical. 80%, as I said, is actually inherited from our ancestral lines, sometimes direct, but also sometimes indirect, right? Like being a woman with a lot of money in this world, it's a new thing. It's a new thing for our generation, pretty much. Like, in the past, women who had a lot of money, or who were wealthy, who were rich, they would be scorned, they would be scolded, they would be, rejected by society, they would be betrayed, they would be, threatened in some way of like, there was like murder planned on them and all kinds of things. So we sometimes still carry wounds like that, right? Like ancestral wounds of these woman lineages. Yeah. And so when we really surrender and lean back into what would it mean to really have that much money that I wouldn't even need to count it, I could just, walk into a shop and get this and that and that and that, and it wouldn't matter, right? Like that level of effortlessness around money very often puts us face to face with all the blocks that we've built around pushing money aside, right? And so we use the survival mechanism as an excuse as to why we can't have money, right? And it's not that it's an excuse because you're a bad person. It's an excuse because on a subliminal level, it means that money is dangerous for you. It means that, it will provoke some form of abuse around you, right? Abuse of your boundaries, abuse of your respect, abuse of your worthiness, loss, grief, disconnection. And I feel like that's most of our actual work, is to learn how to receive the things that we're really meant to receive and walk with the fact that, walk with the awareness that we also have that which is pushing it aside at the same time. And, you could go back and re-listen to this and insert men or, an empowered masculine man with the word money, right? Because it's the same thing on an energetic perspective, on a level of manifestation. Those two pieces actually go together, right? Because money is just an extension of masculine energy in the universe. So what we're really looking to do is to polarize with our feminine energy. And when we are trying to control and trying to direct the pathways of, what it is that we want specifically, when we're becoming so specific and so like obsessed around the result and around the object more than the actual feelings of embodiment on our way there, we create a disconnection with our feminine essence, right? Because in our feminine essence, it's where we are really tuned into our feelings, we're really tuned into who we are being. And it's not just the positive feelings, right? This is where, oh my gosh, this is such a big piece. It's a big piece because when you're really connected with your feminine essence, you're also going to be connected with that level where you're actually stretching. How do I want to put this? Stretching into your shadow and into your deepest fears, your deepest longings, to the point that it actually hurts, right? You're tuning into, deep desperation and anger, like deeply rooted stuff. And when you're working with feminine essence, like with your feminine energy, it's not going to be just about the positive stuff. It's not just going to be about the dreamy, blissful, pleasurable things. Honestly, like that's definitely where you deserve to be, but in the beginning of the journey, that's not where you're going to be. And surrendering into that, right? Surrendering into the fact that you can be loved and deeply held and deeply supported as you're releasing and relinquishing and letting go of all this debris and all this gunk and stuff that is holding you back from your dreams. When you can walk with both, right? That's where your true feminine power really comes in, right? It's like the mother who can hold her baby as it's crying, and you know, the baby is always going to be feeling held and loved and supported as much as when the baby is happy and it's showing joy and elevation and bliss and whatever, right? And I feel like very often we're very, you know, strict strict parents on ourselves and on our inner child, because, you know, we're open for the bliss and the joy and the expectation of pleasure, but the minute it becomes uncomfortable, we immediately shut down one and the other. And I think that the ultimate, you know, purpose in our manifestation journey really is about expanding. And, you know, expansion never happens just on one level, it always happens on, you know, both spectrums, right? Because, and this is something that I've realized within myself, is that the more I was able to hold the frequency of money in my field, the more I was becoming aware of all the pieces that were so hurtful and so painful on my, you know, money healing journey, because I was able to see how much I struggled and how much pain I put myself into, and how much heartbreak, you know, I really stirred into my life, when it could have been, you know, a lot easier. And, you know, there's a level of regret that comes in, and it's important that we look at it. You know, I used to live my life, you know, thinking, no regrets, you know, like I'm never mad at anyone, and I can easily forgive, and I can do all these things, when actually, in actual fact, there was deep regret, there was deep heartbreak, there was deep unforgiveness, right? Both for myself and for others, and for patterns around, well, money in this case. There was also other things I will, you know, probably talk about love on a different video. But there's a level where we really have to be willing to see that, right? And that level doesn't mean that you're a faulty, you know, person who doesn't know how to live her life. It's about full responsibility and ownership. And that's where we really stretch into that sovereign aspect of our inner queen essence, where we can see, you know, yeah, we can deeply look at our pain. We can deeply look at the things that, you know, haven't been so graceful, haven't been so elegant. And it's like they go together, because, you know, on one side we can look at all of this, and that makes us more available for what it is that we really want, and we can also receive, you know, huge levels of abundance, money, clients, you know, manifestations, you know, upgrades like the one that I had today. And we can realize, oh my gosh, I used to not be able to do that, right? I used to push this away, or if I had it, I would then feel guilty and, you know, disconnected on some level, right? And so really making peace with the levels where I was disconnected, making peace with the levels where I couldn't forgive, making peace with the levels where deep regret was there, right? Even jealousy, even, like anger and frustration and, you know, desperation. There's a level of effortlessness that comes in when we actually fully integrate these pieces. And I think that that's one of the most fascinating and the most exciting pieces with working with the feminine energy, because, you know, your inner goddess is gonna walk with you in that direction, not because there's all this bad stuff and all these you know, like sins that you're having to cover, you know, which is coming and stemming from the religious backgrounds that we've all, you know, endured, most of us. it's simply because we're actually meant to go on that manifestation journey with the full spectrum of expansion, right? Because we are whole beings from the get-go, right? And it's about linking the pieces that have disconnected themselves and making space for more to come through. And by making space for more to come through, right, and by allowing ourselves to relinquish and let go of those pieces that felt so heavy and burdensome, we're then opening up for what is coming through the unknown, right? It's that expectation that things are coming around the corner, and that no matter what's going to come, whether you're going to receive the upgrade or not by the universe, you're still going to be fine. That's the level of ease and effortlessness, right? That's the level of power. And that's the level of healthy connection with the masculine energy in the universe, right? Because you're no longer tugging on the masculine energy in order to fulfill or meet your own inner worthiness or requirements inside you, or your expectations, right? It's about, no matter what comes my way, I'm ready. You know, I'm going to walk through the storm as much as I'm going to walk through the sunshine, and I'm still going to fully and deeply love and accept myself. And I feel like that's one of the major assets that I've been able to really embody in the past few years, which have, you know, really opened up the gateways for my manifestation process. And it's something that I'm celebrating today so much, right? Like today was such a magical day because of this, because I was really understanding the level of ease and effortlessness with money has come with the level of ease and effortlessness with, regardless what is coming my way, it's always going to serve my highest and best way, right? Like there's no way that whatever's coming for me is not going to be meant for me. And that's really powerful, because when you're available for both to come through, the failure and the success, the pain and the pleasure, the disconnection and the connection, when you're expecting both and you know how to handle and juggle with both, your emotional maturity becomes so powerful that, yeah, more and more amazing things are coming through, because you're also going to be able to handle that which is looking like chaos and, you know, wild, that doesn't fit anywhere, that isn't logical. Yeah, and I feel like that level usually comes very close together. It dances with our soul purpose, right? Because the soul purpose really is about going deeply into that full embodiment of your feminine essence, right? What it really means to be a woman and walk like a woman in this world. You don't need to compete with men, right? You don't need to go seek the validation in order to feel full. You're already full, right? And you know how to fill your own cup. So you're constantly in that exuberant abundance, right? Yeah, I feel like I wanted to share this with you. And also to reveal that, you know, my journey isn't perfect at all. You know, there's a lot of pitfalls. I lost my grandmother this year. Last year I had a very painful breakup. There are things that are, you know, deeply shaking my world up to the point where, yeah, you know, I cry and I have deep moments of sadness and, you know, confusion sometimes. But I've stopped making that about my vibe anymore. Like I've stopped make it mean that I'm no longer available for the things that are really meant for me. And it's given me such a level of ease and effortlessness. And I feel like it's one of the things that I love teaching women about, really. You know, most of my programs really go into this. They go into the feminine essence, but they also go into how do you deal with pain, and, you know, like pain and triggers and things that are disconnection based, very often are signs of success more than signs of failure, right? Failure is actually a sign of success. Yeah, I feel like that's really what I've come through to, is to realize that I get to walk my life fully and wholesomely, you know, get to love every single piece of it, because every single piece fits in somehow, right? Even if it makes no sense. Yeah. So I'm sending you so much love wherever you are in the world. I'm currently in Luxembourg, about to take off to Bulgaria soon. And yeah, I just wanted to share this with you today. Thanks for tuning in. I love you so much, you beautiful woman on the other side of the screen. I hope to see you soon. Take care.